Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Have you ever been to the Gulf Coast of Florida? If you have, you know that it is beautiful. The white sand, the emerald waters, it's a gorgeous place to live. And this is where I met one of my mentors, Karen Schoberg. When I was just a year or two out of college, my husband and I moved to Florida for his job. And I was able to find a job with Karen's company, IdeaWorks. And it was a really small advertising agency, just her and the graphic designer and then myself. And I had been trying to find, since graduating college, a job with an ad agency, and this was my chance to really learn hands-on directly from the owner, so I jumped at the chance. They brought me on to do a lot of administrative work, some office management, bookkeeping work, but I knew I would get a chance to be exposed to the really fun work too. And I wasn't wrong. Karen was a really respected member of the community, had run successful marketing and advertising departments at the local hospital, and now she was branching out on her own. So she taught me a lot about being a business person and developing relationships with clients, and also about continuing education. She was very generous with paying for myself and the other employee to have extra training and different things that were needed to help with her business. Well, one of the most memorable times that I remember was when she took me under her wing and said, okay, I'm going to take you through the whole process from client meeting to complete project, so you can see the whole thing through to completion, how the whole process works with the client and new jobs. So she brought me in for the client meeting, which that was the first time I had been able to sit down with her and a client in a room and discuss the project. Before then, I was just the here, do this kind of a person and not involved in the meeting. So I learned a lot from her on what kind of questions to ask the client, how to listen to make sure you're understanding the goals that the client has with the project that they're hiring you for. So this particular client was a jewelry designer, and she wanted us to help her design a beautiful catalog brochure that she could use to sell her jewelry and market her business. So it was a fun project too. So we met with her and then the graphic designer, and then all along through the process, she kept me involved. I was able to meet with the printer and look at different paper samples and all of the things that go with developing a actual catalog print job. Plus, also she was teaching me how to make sure the client was always communicated with all along in the process. So all of this is going really smooth. We're down to the end. The final proofs have been approved. We send it to the printer. We're very happy. The client's very happy. So in about a week, we get the boxes delivered from the printer. And this was a lesson in damage control and problem solving. And for a mentor and protege relationship, I was grateful and thankful for her to keep me in the loop when she could have been upset and scrambling and forget about me. But she made sure I was with her throughout the whole process of problem solving. And this was the problem. So we got these beautiful brochures, and beautiful in the box. They were shiny paper with black ink, so the images of the jewelry really popped out on the page. But as soon as we picked them up and started thumbing through the catalog, we realized that the ink combination with the paper was terrible. You could see our fingerprints on every page, smudges and fingerprints, and we knew it was a disaster. The client would not be happy at all. So what I also learned from her was, don't take the problem to the client until you have a solution. So she did a really good job of working with the printer and the graphic design people and trying to figure out a better way we could have these printed, and then also a way where we could do it where everyone shared kind of the cost, because that was a big cost to each. Thousands of brochures printed on very what we thought was high quality paper. So then she brought the client in, and I was able to listen to her, talk to the client, and work through it, and all the while keeping the client happy. But also I was really appreciative of all she did for me to keep me along in the process. And that's how our whole relationship was. She was very open, very honest with her books and her business, and always made sure that she knew what my goals were and what I wanted to learn. And when there was opportunities to learn different parts of the business. She made sure she allowed me to do that. So I'm really appreciative of her, and all the while having a view of the Gulf Coast was not a bad job to have. And it taught me that a lot about my strengths and weaknesses, and also that it is important to have somebody that you're working for or with that has a lot more knowledge than you, and then is also open and willing to share that. Thank you.